Marriage can be full of utopia and bliss, or filled with challenges and stress. But definitely, marriage is a journey. How do you handle your baggage? Experience the marriage that God always wanted you to have through the Marriage Utopia series with Stephen and Ann Butterfield.
Welcome back to Marriage Utopia. We're so glad that you're here with us today, and we pray that you will get something out of this as you have been getting out of the other sessions that we do. Today, we're going to talk about a very important part of marriage. It's finances. Yeah. So really to pay attention to this and take this information, and please govern yourself accordingly.
Amen. So we thank you, and we thank you for tuning in on today, and we're going to be talking about finances today. And in Pastor Butterfield's book, he talks about finances, and he explains some information to us that is very critical for couples and for anyone that is dealing with finances. According to studies, finance is one of the major causes of divorce and destruction of marriages. Now that is very important for us to really get that and understand that finances can be an issue in your marriage. And maybe you are already dealing with some issues in your marriage, and it's very important that you continue to listen in to hear what we are about to share with you concerning finances. In a world where we must take care of ourselves, married couples sometimes forget that they are committed to have a new life and a new relationship with another person. And so therefore it's kind of hard for them to really not be independent, but they now need to consider being a little dependent and independent, both. Couples fight about money twice as much as they fight about sex, according to Money Magazine survey. Now, I want to just share with you just a little bit of my life. As we grew up in a household, it did appear that my mom, which is the female, was the person in charge. And my dad went to work every day, and he came home and he brought the money home, and he gave that money to my mom, and she gave him, back in the day, him having $2 or something was pretty good with what he needed to do at the time. What he needed to do, that little money was enough for him to do it. So my mother took care of the finances in the house. My dad was going to make sure that the household was taken care of because he was the one going out and making the money. Now, as we grew up in our household, my father and my mother taught us to get with a man that had a job. And so they also taught us that, but they taught us to be independent. They taught us to be independent, meaning you take care of yourself. Always have enough money to take care of yourself, not being totally dependent on someone else. Have your own money to take care of yourself. Now, they wasn't trying to tell us not to come together as one with the money, because they really came together concerning the money. But they was trying to help us to understand that you do need to learn how to be independent. But I think what we took it a little far, because that's what we was hearing. So when I got married, I was very independent of taking care of my own self. And so I had to bring it in so I would also be dependent. Both worked for me once I got the revelation to be independent and also dependent on my spouse because of a spouse, but you don't want to just be dependent on an individual. You need to be able to know some things for yourself. Amen.
What we need to understand there is when you're married, you're no longer an individual. And so your mindset can't be on the individual. So the marriage needs to be independent. So the mindset that the marriage, not the individual person is going to be independent, but the marriage have to learn to sustain, to be able to take care of itself, to be independent, yes, but not the individuals, because they're no longer individuals now. Now you're a couple, and that means you're one. And so you can be independent, but the marriage being independent, not the individual being independent. Just so we don't confuse that. Because you can't be independent individually and still be dependent. There's no way to do that. And so the thing is, we have to change our mindset. And later on in the book, we're going to get into what that looks like. And so we want to make sure that we don't get confused about independence. Because a part of what goes on in the marriage, it causes problem is that same thought of being independent. And a lot of parents teaches our children to be independent.
That's right.
And so, which is a conflict because you have to be dependent on each other. And that marriage is going to be the one that's going to be independent.
Okay. And so I hope you guys understanding what we are saying here. And like I said, we was taught to be independent. We was taught to be independent. So later on in marriage, I had to learn how to depend because of the fact that a man and a woman coming together, you can't be just dependent upon yourself. Now you got an individual, another individual that is in the household with you. So you, Pastor Butterfield explained that. And I think everybody probably got that. I hope you got that information clear. Couples fight about money twice as much as they fight about sex. And according to the Money Magazine survey, we can share with you today some financial advice that we received from a financial advisor, Carol Pierre, and she said that what we as couples, and maybe if people are not couples, it's good for you anyway. First, get you a budget. You need to prepare a budget. Once you prepare that budget, you will bring your household expenses, you begin to bring your household expenses current. Try to get your household expenses to a current state. Then you set up an initial emergency fund, and that emergency fund need to be $1,000. You need to get $1,000 in your emergency fund. And then you pay off your debt. Pay off your debt and buy term life insurance to cover over 10 years of your annual household income. Also, cover the amount of your mortgage, your education or college costs for your children or either for yourself. And lastly, fully fund your emergency fund with 3 to 6 months of your total monthly household expenses. And so then that, with having that life insurance, will help you to be able to sustain in your household if something happens. If something happens, you will be able to survive in your household. So it's very important that you don't just think independency, but you think dependent and independency. All right? Hopefully we got that clear. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is your credit score. And Pastor Butterfield and we use Sesame credit so that we can check our credit score and keep up with it. It also keep up with our credit score. It also gives us tips and things that we can check and see if we have any negativity out there and all of that. And it will tell us what our credit score is, and it will let us know what our credit score may be if we are at the rate where we are for the next month or two. It'll give you an estimate. It may go down to 3, it may be 3 months along the way, but it'll give you an estimated a score of what your credit score may be up to in 3 months or so. So it's very important that this may not be what you would use, but this is a tool that we use, a Sesame credit reporting. A good credit score is important for everyone to have. It is very important, and when you go out and you be trying to buy stuff, you will find out that having a good credit score is important to you. Loans are a necessity part of life for most of us. And so building a solid credit history and maintaining a high credit score can have a dramatic impact on your quality of life now and in the future, when you may be considering applying for a loan. Because at some point you may have to apply for a loan, like buying a house or buying a car. These are high end things. So therefore, most of us can't just go and pay cash for a house or cash for a car. So therefore, we need a little help, and so therefore we have to get a loan. And so this is very important that we keep a good credit score. And credit score, it means that we need to pay our bills on time. They need to be paid on time. And it's very important for you to check the status of what's going on with your credit, so that you can make sure no one has went in and charged something on your cards or whatever. And they are able to use cards now without having your card. I mean, I don't know how they're doing that, but folks are able to get money out of your account without even having your card. So it's very important for you to check those tips that some of the credit organizations will help you with. Like I said, we use Sesame Credit. So we are able to see some of the things. If there's some negativity, we're able to see that negativity there. So couples should be educated about the importance of a good credit score. They need to learn how to obtain a good credit score and how to maintain a good credit score. So it's very important that you learn how, and we just shared with you that you need to get that budget, and then you need to get your bills paid up. So these are, and then get that savings of $1,000 in your account. But these are some of the things that you can do in order that you can have a good credit score. Is making sure that you don't overspend. We can overspend and just be in the mall and shopping, and I love to shop. And so and I'm not an online shopper. I like to go in the store, look around and buy. So it's very important that you take care of yourself and don't get your credit cards up past the limit. Because that's very bad on the credit as well. We want to share with you also, when you get a credit card, do not close that credit card out. You keep that credit card, or you can cut it up and never use it again. But do not close them out, because when you close a credit card down, it goes against your credit report. It goes against your credit report. So it goes against your credit report. So therefore, your credit score is going down because now you have closed that account. We suggest that you take a particular card, you use it every once in a while just to keep that card going a little bit. If you really don't want, you may need that card later on. You don't want to just shut it down. But if you just cut it up and don't use it, you can go back and ask them to send you another card if you decide that really I want to use this card again. But of course, you can put these cards away and then use them every once in a while just to keep it moving. But it is good that it will be to your best that you do not close your credit cards down. All right. I think anything you want to add on to that dealing with the credit score?
No.
That's good. Okay, so just make sure that you keep this under consideration concerning your credit score, because if you keep your bills paid up on time, you check and see if anybody else have went in on your account doing things on your account, and you don't close your credit cards down, then your credit score should end up being pretty good, especially if you don't go over. Like if you got a $5,000 credit limit and you always keeping it out of near $5,000, it's going to cause your credit score to go down. So you want to just make sure that you take care of your credit cards and use wisdom as you use them. All right. The next area that we are going to deal with is our spending habits. Good spending habits are very important to a couple. What everyone does not know is that good spending habits are just as important to your financial success as saving money or getting rid of your debt. So your spending habits is very important. So just think with your spending habits, maybe kind of like me, if I'm going somewhere special, I may want to go and buy an outfit, but I got plenty of outfits in the closet, but I may want to go and buy another one. I want to suggest to you that is nothing wrong with that if you can afford it. But if there is something going on and you know that you got bills that you need paid, then we suggest that you just go in the closet and get you an outfit for the night. Amen. Instead of going and spending money. It's very important. Another thing that we could do with our spending habits that may not be very good is trying to keep up with the Joneses, doing things that we see other people are doing. It is very important that we as couples that we deal with our own household and what is going on in our own household, because we can't keep up with what's going on in someone else's household. We have to make someone go and buy a new car for their spouse, and then now you want a new car. We don't work like that. We have to make sure that we set our budget and discuss our budget, talk about it. You may want to talk about it every month to just see where you are with everything that is going on in the household, because things changes. You may have a kid going to college, or you may have a kid going to high school, and when they go to high school, they got to get ready for graduation. So there's some more extra money that you're having to pay, or maybe they start paying in 11th grade. I'm not sure, but there are changes that are being made in the household as time passes. So you want to make sure that you don't get above your budget. One of the things that as far as spending habits are concerned, One of the key things that I believe that will help, and it has helped us, is that you pay your tithes, which is a tithe is a 10%. So if you, in your budget, you gonna make sure that you got your 10% in there, and you also are going to make sure that you are giving an offering to the church. Then you make sure that you are doing that. God is going to bless that. And not only that, but now we have the tithes, and we have the offering and seed offering as well. And these seed offerings will bring you extra into your household. So you want to make sure that you are doing what God wants you to do. And we know that God wants us to give back to the kingdom. We ain't giving it to him. We're giving it back to the kingdom, so the kingdom, the people in the earth can be helped, and bills can be paid in the church to keep, a church don't just stand just because the light bill need to be paid.
That's
The
right.
water bill need to be paid.
That's right.
There are some folks in the church that need to be paid. So therefore, you have to make sure that the tithes and the offerings and also the seed offerings are coming in, and so that for the furthering of God's kingdom. That's what it's for, the furthering of God's kingdom. So couples must consider their current spending habits and then discuss the adjustments that are needed to be financially stable. So you want to make sure that you are financially stable. And when you do that and you set your budget, you will basically see where you are, and you will see how much you can spend. You will know whether or not you can go to the mall today, or if you can do go to the movies, or all types of different things. Or maybe you will realize whether or not you can buy that new car or that new house. You'll be able to see from the budget that you have. The last thing I want to share with you is thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. God knows what he's doing. We know that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above anything that we could even ask or think about. But when I think about this epidemic that is going on right now, this is my last point, I think about the fact that I haven't been to the mall. Other than that, I would have been in the mall shopping at Macy's. I would have went in the mall and Bath and Body Works. They are closed and haven't opened up yet. My husband was just patting me on the back saying, babe, they gonna open. Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret, they've been just driving me up. I mean, really. But, and some of them are getting ready to close. I've been doing some research. And so some of them is getting ready to close on me. And so I do hope that there are some here in Georgia. But I really have settled myself down a lot, that when this thing is over, I'm still not going to be bombarding Macy's and Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret. I am going to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do in order to keep my household under subjection unto my husband and to God.
Amen. Hallelujah. Finance, as in everything in life, it takes discipline. You got to be disciplined.
Right.
And discipline is not something easy to do.
It's not.
And that's why we talk about habit and beliefs and family traits. Because if you're trained how to save growing up. You train how to pay a tithe as a child. You train how to. You got X amount of dollars. You need to save some of that.
Right.
It all based on how we were brought up. Now, if we were not brought up that way, that don't mean it's over for you.
Right.
You can learn. You can change. You can learn some things. And so what we're telling you is these things that if you don't do them right now, you can learn. You can become that person who has a credit score of 800. You can become that person who knows how to spend and not to spend more than you earn. Don't spend more than you earn. And the only way you're going to know that if you have a budget.
Right.
If you don't, and a budget is not keeping record of what you spent. A budget is you know you're only going to spend X amount of dollars because you want to save some of that.
Right.
And so the next area you were talking about is savings. Savings is very, very important because my mom always said you got to put something away for a rainy day. Because rain gonna come.
Right.
Trouble gonna come. Incidents. Contingency stuff gonna happen. Things are gonna happen. And what do you do when the washing machine goes out?
Right.
And it's gonna cost you $1,000 to get another one in. What do you do when your car needs repair? If you don't have no savings put aside for that, you're gonna have to dip into now the other expense, and like they say in the church, rob Peter to pay Paul, and you never get ahead when you do that because Peter gonna need his money too. And so eventually you're gonna be deeper and deeper in the hole. So savings is a must, and it is a habit. You have to form this habit. And so my suggestion is that you would start out small. So you can develop a habit. Because a lot of us want to do it big. We want to save, I'm gonna try to save 10% of what I earn. You can't save $1 yet, so why try to save a big amount? So I would suggest to save $25 a month. Or you say, that ain't nothing to do. But you put aside $25 per month for 3 months. And if you're able to do that without thinking about it, just doing it, or even do it for 6 months, however long it takes you to do it without thinking about it, you just doing it. Then you can increase that to $50. And then you increase that to $75. Then you increase it to $100. And so, but you got to learn how to save.
Start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. Don't try to start with $100 a month. You may not be able to do that. And so, but if you go over your budget, you'll be able to tell areas where you can cut back. Again, when you deal with your spending habit, you'll find out that areas that you've been spending, you've been buying lunch every day, and it's $5 per day, and that's low. $5 is low.
That's low.
That's $5 a day, 5 days a week. That's $25 a week. That's $100 a month. That if you get some cold cuts and make some sandwiches, you'll be surprised the amount of money that you'll save at the end of that month. You'll be able to put it in savings.
Not to mention that Starbucks coffee that you get in the morning time, $5, and then you're gonna still buy lunch.
And so, so these little areas, if you first got to start with your budget, you'll be able to identify things that you are spending on that you don't have to, that you can save. Because you got X amount of dollars, that's what you got. And so if that's all you got, that's what you got. So we got to reduce now. In order to save, you got to reduce what you're spending. And so you're able to save. And so if you don't have enough, you just, your budget is really tight, and this is really what it is, you're lean as you can be, then what you got to do now is seek for other income. Seek a side job or whatever, a little hustle, so you can get some extra income, and that income is not for you to spend. That's for you to save. Because if you save that, you'll find out when that washing machine goes down, when your car needs repair, you won't have to worry about trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. You would have that set aside. And like the instruction we gave you early, if you have an ability to save $1,000 up for the emergency in case something happened to the car, in case something happened to the stove or whatever, you will have that money set aside that you won't have to stop. You'll still be saving your money on a regular basis.
Right.
You'll be paying your bills on a regular basis, but you'll be able to take that money out now and then take care of that emergency, and you're still rolling on. You don't have to feel apprehensive. And when you don't have the money that you need, you can't even think straight. I mean, you're gonna have chaos in the house. You're gonna be fussing at each other. You're gonna be stressed out. So it's best to be able to have a saving plan in place so you don't have to be so uptight and stressed out. The least thing happens, you're gonna be stressed out and you don't know what to do, and then you're gonna have too much stress on you. And stress is not good for any relationship. And so we need you to make sure that you begin to save. If you can't do the 10% a month, do $25 to start out with, but start somewhere. And after a while, when it becomes a habit, saving has to become a habit where you do it without even thinking about it. You do it just because that's what you do. And when you do that, you'll find yourself being so far ahead of other people who just go out and spend and spend and spend. You'll be able to be settled, and your spouse will be content. You'll be content. You don't have to worry about stuff. That's one less thing to deal with. Because money can be a big issue. So we want you to make sure that you learn how to save.
And let me share this with you too. I was single at the time, but I was working at Bank of America, and I decided, okay, I want to do some extra things. And so I got a part-time job at Rich's. It was really Rich's then, it's Macy's. And when I got that job, you know, I love to shop. Y'all just heard me say I love to shop, love to buy clothes and shoes and all of that. And I went in that store, leaving my job, and was straight to Rich's to work and be there until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Stressing myself out, it came up in my mind when you said stressed out. But because I was by myself at the time, it wasn't as bad for me. But if you is not disciplined, meaning now you are working a job already and you go and get a second job, but that when you start working in that store or wherever you're working at, if you're working in a store where you can buy stuff, you are spending more than you're making.
That's right.
And that is what happened to me.
Yes.
It wasn't helping me, not at all. I did not have anybody in the household to be trying to tell me don't do it though.
Right.
I could make up my mind to do it myself. But just think about it. When you got another person, you're not just depending on your own self. You now got another person that is in the household with you. And then some of you may have kids and deciding that you're gonna take a second job, but you're gonna be spending every penny and more. So it's not doing any good in defeating the purpose. Because you're not home, you're tired, and you're spending more money than what you're making.
That's right.
So it's not good. So you got to be disciplined, like Pastor Butterfield was saying. You got to be disciplined when you go and make that extra money. That extra money got to go where you purposed it to go.
It looks good.
Yeah.
That's something you didn't have before. Oh my goodness.
I got
and you
some
can just think about
what you can do.
All the things you can do.
Yeah.
But you have to be disciplined and say, listen, this has a purpose.
Yeah, purpose.
If we understand purpose, we will be all right. Because our life is purposeful. If you live a life purposeful, you'll be all right. Because it takes discipline. You know that this has a purpose. That money that I got right here,
Every bit.
has a purpose.
Every dime.
Your budget is because everything everything that you spending is for a reason. You want to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
You want to keep the insurance paid.
Yeah.
You want to keep the phone loan. All these things you want to do, and then always look at your expenses so you can see how you can reduce it.
Right,
if the cable bill start going high, okay, we got other companies that have promotions that you can save money. Don't be loyal to anybody who's going to not help you to save money. So if that bill is high, start going up, they give you a discount to get you in there. And after 2 years, they're going to raise it. But after that 2 years over, somebody else got a discount. Well, that same company might have a discount. But always look for ways to save money, whether it's your light bill, whether it's your phone bill, whether it's your cable bill. No matter what it is, your internet, whatever it is, seek how to save money, how to reduce that. Your mortgage, see, if you have to refinance to get that monthly payment down, go ahead and do it. Because it would help you to be able to save more money. And if you can do that, it would help you to free up some money, and your mind would begin to be free. Trust me, it works. Amen. So after you save, in addition to saving, now we have to learn how to invest. To save money, you put it up for a rainy day. But when you invest money, now you have money that's going to be working for you. After you done work for that money, now you have money that's going to start working for you. Oh my God. You won't understand. I think somebody said, Buffett or whatever, somebody said that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world.
Okay.
They talk about the 7 wonders, but they say that's the 8th wonder because compound interest, it blows your mind how that thing does multiply exponentially.
Right.
And so you want to start to invest. After you got your savings down packed, you done got 6 months of your household expenses that you got in an account somewhere that you're not touching at all, that you got an emergency fund of $1,000 you're not touching unless something broke, and now you have enough where you can invest. And now the money that you're putting up is going to start making money.
Right.
The savings account after a year might make $5, $10 or whatever, minimum amount. But once you start investing that money, especially if you go into any company that has pharmaceutical, computers or whatever, you know that those companies are going to be making money. So those are the companies you invest in, and when you start investing in that, the money you put in, and what is so good now that they have investments where you don't have to have a block of $5,000 to start. You can start with $50. And so just start out, like I said before about savings, begin to get that habit of just investing. Start seeing where that money, and you'll be surprised what $5,000 can multiply to $100,000 in 5 years' time or even less. And so don't be afraid to invest. Sometimes people think that investment only for rich people. No, they're bringing it down now where any and everybody have the opportunity to invest. And so, but make sure you don't invest into something that has all these fees.
Right, exactly.
Because the fees will take up your money that you're trying to invest. Don't do that. Please be aware, if you have an investment that has these fees, these monthly fees I'm talking about, these administrative fees, run from those. But the ones that has commission, when you make money, they make money, that's where you want to be. Because guess what? They want you to make money so they can make money. So those are the kind of investments you get into, and you will be glad you did. And I want to leave 5 things you need to do that I would advise couples that you must do. 5 habits that you must form as a couple, and that's setting a goal. Number 1, set a goal. The Bible say write the vision.
plain.
Make it plain so whoever get it can run.
Run
Don't
with
walk with it now.
Run with it.
Don't
Run.
run with it.
Run.
And so setting goals is a must. As a couple, sit down on a monthly basis and say, okay, have a monthly meeting. This is where we are. This is where we need to be. And this is where we want to go. Set a goal. Then after that, you want to create a plan.
Create a plan.
Get a plan. Ain't use having goals if you ain't got no plan. Goals don't mean nothing.
That's right.
It's just like dream. Dream ain't doing you no good if you don't wake up and get something done.
Right.
So after you plan, after you set a goal, put a plan in place, then start saving regularly. Not just every now and then. No, make it a habit. And then live on less.
Live on less.
Hallelujah.
Live on less.
Live on less. Oh my goodness. If we get to a place where we can live on less, do you know how much money that can free up?
Right.
Live on less and then stay in the game.
Stay in the game.
Keep investing. Don't stop. If the market goes down, it's okay. If the market goes down, don't put. That's the time to put more money in.
Yeah.
When the market, like right now, the market is down. It's time to invest. Because guess what? It ain't gonna stay the same.
Yeah. It goes back up.
It's gonna come back up. It's gonna come back up. And when it come back up, you're gonna be the benefit of it, even though it's down now. So when it's down, that's when you want to buy.
That's right.
So now is a great time. Don't allow anything to stop you. So number 5 is stay in the game. Invest. Do not forget that, because you need to make sure that you have a financial, a good portfolio where you wake up when you go to bed at night, you're not concerned.
Right.
If something happens tomorrow, how I'm going to pay my bill?
Right.
Because most people are 1 or 2 paycheck away from being homeless.
Right.
Being on the streets. You don't want to live your life like that. You want to live your life where you can go to bed at night and just sleep in peace. You want to wake up in the morning with peace.
Right, exactly.
You don't want to be all stressed out. You can't. It's gonna bring conflict, and that's why finances is the number 2 thing that causes divorce. Because when that money ain't right, it's gonna be a fight. I say when that money ain't right, there is gonna be a fight. And when fight happen, somebody gonna get hurt. And so you don't want that. I don't want that for you. To have the marriage that God always wants you to have, you want to make sure that your finances is set. You're working together. What you want to do is you want to have a joint account. You want to have an expense account that all the expenses go there. When you want to pay your bill, you know the money is coming out of that account. You got a savings account set up. Then you have your petty cash money or your spending money for you and your spouse. Put that in another account. That way when you budget it, you know where each money is at. You don't have to worry about, we overdid that. Or no, the money where to operate, and you call it an operating account. Where you got your light bill, the insurance, all that stuff in, you paying out of that account. You have that. That's your joint account. All the money comes in, go there. Then you can disperse them to the savings to get the money. Our pocket money get theirs, and that way life makes it simple. You don't have to worry and stress out. Oh, did I overspend over here? No, you know that and then you know that the spouse who liked to shop, got her money.
That's right.
That she can go and shop.
That's right.
Amen. Because a happy wife,
Amen.
they say, is a happy life. And so, but you want to make sure that your finances is right. Because we have to be good stewards of what God has given us.
That's right.
God allow us to go get a job and get income. We have to make sure we first pay our tithes, save some money, and pay our bills, and live on less. Please live on less. You don't need 50 pair of shoes.
Right, exactly.
You really don't. After you done wear that for 2 years, give the rest of them to Goodwill. And I'm telling you, God will bless you.
Keep blessing.
He'll keep blessing. Man, people will come giving you stuff.
Yes.
I'm a witness. People will bring you. I had 13 pairs of shoes. Somebody just gave them to me. 40 pairs of slacks, just gave them to me. 20-something suits, gave them to me. Just keep giving. And what I did out of that, I gave. I bless other people with it. I didn't keep it all to myself. I bless other people with it. If you give, He'll give it back to you. Good measures. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. So who? Men gonna come and give to your bosom.
Yes.
So be a giver.
Praise the Lord.
Be a giver and learn how to save, learn how to spend right, live on less, and learn how to invest. And protect your credit at all means. Protect your credit. Yeah. So we pray that you've gotten some out of this, that you'll be better, and you would really have the marriage that God always wants you to have. Marriage Utopia. So until next time, we want you to hear about some couples who have went through this class and read the book, and they have benefited from it. Amen.
We're going to talk about our experience with Marriage, the Journey, how to handle your baggage.
The book was very enlightening, and being married is definitely a journey.
We highly recommend it and really enjoyed the class and the book.
We found Pastor Butterfield's book to be very insightful.
Well, I really enjoyed the whole book from beginning to end.
We read the book and we were able to participate in the class. It was a multi-week session and it really was beneficial.
We also found that it was so interesting, it really drew us in.
You know, it brought things to our attention in the different chapters.
They were lifting the experience of the book to a real life situation.
Even though we've been married multiple years, there were still things we were able to pull from that did help to enlighten our marriage and bring things to our consciousness as we move forward.
Marriages ought to have an annual checkup.
The annual marriage checkup is really impactful.
Having a checkup, which I consider from the standpoint of a tune-up.
But it's good to check in and check up. We do maintenance on our homes. We do maintenance on our cars on a regular basis.
Because if you don't have that annual marriage checkup, you're really doing your marriage a disservice.
So we got the opportunity to attend the class, Marriage, the Journey, How Do You Handle Your Baggage? And that class was taught by Elder Stephen Butterfield and Pastor Ann Butterfield.
To me, the class was a great refresher on how to respect each other, how to submit to each other, how to love and accept each other, even with our differences.
But then we also learned some things new in the class and in the book that we think will help us continue to maintain a strong marriage.
And so we were able to go home and then actually take what we talked about in class and then do that same thing with each other.
Yeah. You know, being married 35 years, a lot of dynamics take place. And so going back and going over and rehashing those things that brought us together.
You gotta be a good listener, and you gotta be able to communicate with each other on a positive note.
When you expose yourself, when you become real, you know, you become vulnerable, but at the same time, that means you trust in this person with your feelings and your emotions.
Sometimes you have to listen to your spouse in order to get things done in life, in marriage, that is. You gotta be friends first as well. So basically, that's what's kind of helped us together, being friends to begin with.
And the book allowed me to ultimately become a better husband by displaying or learning how to relay a lot of my emotions to my wife.
It brings about a conversation and it helps you talk with each other about where you've been, where you are now, and where you're going.
We truly recommend it. We're thankful for the class as well as the opportunity to have been able to participate with the authors of this book.
Great experience in the class, great experience reading the book.
This is all biblically based, very inspirational, and it just lifted our whole ministry to another level and brought us even closer to each other.
So I would strongly suggest getting the book because it will make you have a conversation with each other about each section in there about your baggage and all that you come through, and it make you think.
So if you have the opportunity, make sure you get the book and also participate in the class as well.
Yes.
It's worthwhile.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Class is offered again. If there's another version of the book, we will be taking a part.
It's a must read. If I had anything, it would be a #1 seller.